Hello everyone, welcome back to Anno 1800 to Crown Falls, the mega city. Now in the last episode we did quite change the city a lot and we are only going to continue here. We do have some building materials back on track, so that allows me to first of all upgrade more buildings again. And upgrading I would like to do, that is from workers to artisans a few more. We have way too many workers in the city at the moment anyway. We might actually think about a second island at some point that just houses workers, for example, and farmers. For now though, we should be fine with that. There's also some ruins here thanks to having another smaller plague, but nothing serious. This area I'm going to neglect completely because I think here is where we're going to have the scholars this time around. I think that makes a bit of sense there. Let's upgrade those workers there to artisans. And I think over here we also have a couple more. So isn't that nice to start an episode with some upgrading there, changing more and more of the city once more. But that's of course only a small thing that we need to do while we continue, well, building our production chains. Let's actually go ahead and upgrade all of them. Now we are out of bricks again. Perfect. One thing that we need to do is getting my steel beams production up there a bit more, especially if we want to prepare for the skylines or the skyscrapers. Down here we have in distant forest, we have lots and lots of furnaces already. I could also check just how much iron we need. 38 per minute, 40 per minute at the moment. And despite all of that, we are capped on iron and coal still, right? That is one thing. I'm going ahead here now, and since I don't really like to be capped... Oh, look at that. They're together. This one here will wait. They're really right next to each other. It's incredible how these things happen all the time. Newspaper guy, this looks pretty good this time. Perfect. We got some nice standard ones and then one propaganda there to save even more influence. What I would like to do here right away is, first of all, we get cracking with some more storages that I can have in this area. Let's actually make 3 additional storages that I'm going to need. We also have 2 iron deposits available that I would like to use as well, since I would like to increase my furnaces a bit more, right? So we're going to need another one here and another one here, plus the iron mines. So number 1 and number 2. They're going to produce us a bit more iron now on this island as well. Unfortunately, we don't have any coal deposits really. And with that, what we can do now is either I'm going ahead here and building more furnaces, which would cost me workforce. We could also just boost them. First of all, I do have the ability to boost them like that. We don't have any population on this island, so this would not be so bad. I could also use electricity, and how it actually is, we do have some oil right next to that, so it's possible to use the oil on this island here. Hello there, old mate. I'm going to have my own airships then soon as well, hopefully. What I also have is already here a triple road, so as we planned ahead there a bit, we can use that. Unfortunately, these oil springs are really far away from each other, so I'm probably going to need 2 of these oil refineries then. Let's get this one down and this one over here, basically, where we can then have our road system. Then I only really need now my electricity, so we do need 1 oil refinery for this area. Yep. And I think 2 springs might not be completely enough, so I'm just going to have this one over here too, and we can actually use it like that, and then build the oil wells, right? So 2 here and 2 for this, costing me now 28. We can actually build 2 of them, I think. And then I need, of course, my tracks, so we're going to have 1 track up there to this one, and then 1 track from this one to the major road, and from here then to the oil harbor that we still need to build. Oil harbor is though, yeah, costing us again. So let's build the oil harbor. We already have the tracks. Let's build the power plant, which is costing quite a bit. There we have the road once again. And then I just need to build an oil refinery like that one. The second one we can afford. However, I do need to wait for a few steel beams to come in. In the meantime, I could push this refinery here to 50%. And it might actually be enough, to be honest. It might be enough, those 2, for 1 power plant only. And as we can see, this would really power then almost all of my factories. We might extend the reach there with some brick roads there still, as best as possible. And yes, actually, for the exception of those 2, we can power all of them. And I could just move them down here to that warehouse a bit closer. And with that, we can reach everything. How very good. A little bit later, the oil is coming in, and all of these factories are now electrified and producing 100% more steel. This is though skyrocketing my warehouse load, so I'm going to need a bit more bricks over here on distant forest. In fact, what we could do is, since it's getting a bit annoying, I could also get my own brick production up there if I want to. So let's go ahead and upgrade some of them that are heavily used, like this central one here we can upgrade to tier 3. Probably also going to have a couple more of them. And as we can see, we are already full on the output storage. Now let's just check my steel and steel beams delivery. And as we can see, yep, there's one ship now. And I'm also probably going to add now my cargo ships to that. In fact, since this is so important, let's get rid of both of my clippers for this and start with having now only cargo ships on this trade route here, right? They're also much faster. And I'm going to have the steel here. So 3 times, and then I'm going to have 3 times the steel beams. That's also more delivery than overall. We're not going to wait for goods though, as I don't think this is really necessary. And there's also one cargo ship already waiting at distant forest that can now start with this trade here. So there it is. And I hope that I didn't delete now a clipper where there's already some steel beams. There it is, though I did. We need to manually get this one over there, but that should be fine. All right, so there is a bit more steel beams coming in now, and steel, lots more of that, by the way. And what I can see is we should be having enough oil as at the moment. I could, however, build this one if I want to. Now, let's actually do this, right? If it's a surplus, then it's a surplus, and it's fine. And that should be the end of it. Here, I still need that connection. There is a weapons factory, but I don't think we're going to need that weapons factory anymore. This is looking good. This is such a huge boost now to the whole thing. And how is it looking with my iron ore? And since we built the iron mines, it's actually looking pretty fine there. Right, so those two are compensating a bit for the increased consumption. Let's actually push this by another 50%. Make up for it. But that is now a real powerhouse here, boosted as well. We might even think about a trade union then here. Now back in Crown Falls, I'm thinking about the next district that we want to electrify, and since we are having an oil power plant in this area, we don't have electricity here yet, and I would like to change that. I think we do have a couple of good options available. The school here is, for example, something that we don't really need anymore. Let's just have a quick look at how we could make this one work. As we can see, this would work, and we could also power this whole area there as well. That is not powered yet. And of course, the whole upper side here with that. And for the upper side, I do have then more options with another power plant for this area, for example. Yep. Actually, I think instead of the school, we can make this one work. The school, however, I will probably need to move because we still have workers and artisans down here in this area. I will move the pub down here for now, so those people still have the pub, and then I should be able to move the school over there. Of course, we will need to adjust the space that we have there just a tiny bit. Now I'm probably getting rid of this one. Actually, let's move the marketplace a bit further up here to the north. We can make this one work. Reason for that is I don't need this one here necessarily anymore because we have another one down there anyway, and these guys here should still be reached. Yes, still 100%. So that we can move the school now over to this area, and boom, we have that spot available now. By the way, there's still a dirt road that we certainly don't need. And now I can get my tracks up there somehow. Now we still have one problem, that's these two houses there that I will probably need to get rid of. We can, however, get rid of this fountain, move this guy in, and we should be able to... That's a tricky one. I know the solution. We have still a pub and the marketplace here that we no longer need. Let's move the engineers over there that we would otherwise have to delete. And those guys here probably as well. So let's just make this one a whole block of engineers. Right. And then boom, we have lots of space here available that I could use now for, first of all, of course, our power station that I can have like that. Then we need to make the connection that goes then all the way here. Right to the power station. The power station needs a street all around it to really have the maximum amount of boost available to that. And here, yes, we do have now some tiny space available that I could either have a road. So we could have a road actually here with another engineer building, or in fact, let's make here a smaller park if we want to, just beside the
ceasefire has ended.
Just beside the tracks here. So we could start once again with some temperate groves
Under attack.
to hide the tracks a bit better overall. And here we could then have a smaller park. And we have some really cool fountains there as well available if we want to use them.
Ship under attack.
Oh, this is looking like, or it's sounding like we are at war. Yes, this is really annoying. I don't get the message really that ceasefire has ended. And we're always having then this smaller war there. But Sean also, since he's on very hard settings, he still doesn't want to go with peace with us. 0 chance for peace. We're military weaker than Sean, which actually means a lot. Alright, meanwhile, the first train is already coming to this power station here. So this one is now being used, and those people should be getting their nice electricity and finally some TVs. Of course, there's no TVs yet. Have another plant there. In fact, we could actually have a smaller market here. So we have this nice ornament and then a drink snack and a bakery store there as well with some tables, and people can just enjoy their day here. Who cares if there's a train occasionally passing by? I think this is looking quite fine right here in the city center, just besides the electrical power station. Now this is polluting a bit, of course, with oil. Later on we could make it this one gas as well then, once we have enough gas, and with that also reduce pollution in this area. People still like this this spot here though, and it's a nice additional space now that just adds a bit of character to the city. Now with electricity, as we can see, a whole bunch of new upgrades are available. So let's go ahead and upgrade as many engineers in this area as possible. And that was another major boost as well to my influence, but also to my income, as we're now breaching 100k income on the balance and 62,000 people in total. As also this next block here becomes ready. By the way, we're lacking bricks there once again. I already built a few additional brick factories as we're capped on clay. I might actually continue with that. It's insane how many building materials we really need. So we can still build us a few more of these. Now, by the way, up here in this area, yep, it's looking a bit empty now too. We do have here the iron mine still. This is the end. Oh, by the way, yes, totally right. Some of you have already pointed this out. I've used the wrong wall here along the way, right? So of course I wanted to use a different wall, and it's apparent when you look closely to it. So now let's also make this one right and use the real brick wall that I actually wanted to use all along, which also just, by the way, looks much better than the original one, at least in my opinion. By the way, there it is. There's my gate, and then we continue with that. Probably, yep, there's the gate as well. Probably to that side where there is another entrance that I actually wanted to have as, I think, for the people that need to work there. Let's also use some different ornaments here for these, as this one marks the entrance. And let's also have some more paved roads then in this area, making this whole thing now a bit more beautiful. Oh yes, we are out of bricks. Unfortunately not possible for the moment. Very green track there leading right into the industrial zone. The industrial zone, let's just see how far electricity goes, is going all the way to this area. So here I will then end it anyway, right? So we should be able to do it like that. Unfortunately we are not, so I will need to get rid of this road there once more and move it to one step to the left. Now it's possible. Now it's looking a bit better as well. And this brick wall is then going up to the iron mine all the way, and probably ending then here on that side, making this whole thing complete. Oh, wait a second. This was actually intended for a train to go through. We no longer need the train here, right? So this is now a normal triple road that we have. Actually, now that I think about it, this is looking wrong all along.
Can't you see?
I will need to get rid of this one and of this one. And then we are going to make the entrance here, right? Like so. And then it ends. I think this makes a bit more sense now. I'm also, while I'm in the process of actually, you know, remodeling or remodeling here the connection that we have to the upper area, since this is also getting a city district at some point, I'm already moving my train network that we have here. I'm already moving this one upwards now, so I will just copy this layout there, right? And we already have then our nice track system there. So this is probably going then all the way up here, which is kind of like the main road, right? And then probably like that. And then we continue just along here upwards. But this is for later, right? There's not going to be any trains for now on this one. And then we just need to make the manual junction here. And there's the junction, number 1. And also going up, of course. And then also going into this direction there. So that it's just one turn then into this area then for later on, so that we get electricity up there as well. And that also means that this whole, this whole area is finished now, so we can, or well, it is actually finished when it comes to the roads, so we can go ahead and build us just a few more houses along the way then as well. This one is looking a bit tricky there. There you go. And the only thing once again is some street connection here. Getting us a whole new district then to work on here as well. By the way, we do have more and more ruins that I always need to check out. It's pretty important. There's actually a marketplace here. I think there was a fire. We don't have a fire station up there, but we should be fine. In the meantime, we can also once again upgrade a few more houses along the way. So there we have them. And now here along the central park then as well. So more and more of them. Perfect. More influence for us. And also more buildings that we unlock. Another thing I want to do right now is, since we're not going to build skyscrapers right away, but we would like to start building elevators. We're going to need hundreds of tons of them. I think more than thousands of tons. And for that, we can start with it right away. However, as we can see, it is a rather complex one. We do have this motor assembly line already. So I'm going ahead here now and I'm building a second one that can start the work on my motors. And on the other hand, we don't need steel. We have plenty of that. But wood veneer, that is something we don't have yet. And we can actually build it on Crown Falls itself. We just need a tiny bit amount of space. And we don't need that much of it. So I don't want to waste it with in a spot where we do have electricity and stuff like that. So over there with the canneries, I think we have a nice location for that, for our wood veneer production. And let's just have a look and add us a couple of them right here in this tiny area. We might also go ahead and have a market or a warehouse then here. Wait a second. I think this road there, we can actually delete it for now and make it here. I think that is a bit better, and having then a double road going over there, as I like my double roads. Let's also have a stone bridge here now that I can use, and it's already connecting then with those stone bridges there. This is going to look really cool, by the way. All of these bridges there, together with the city districts. Perhaps, there we have more islands, so the Riverlands would be one of my next targets, I think, to really start building on. We could make the scholars here, for example. That would make sense, as it's also closer to some industry. It's difficult, We have the wood veneers to work for right now. Let's go ahead and do this. So let's push them a bit closer together. That's 4 of them, and each one of them produces every minute. And with that, we can start producing four every minute if I had, of course, enough timber. We don't have enough timber for yet. So let's build those 2. And since there's a bit of space in between, let's also add us some elm trees then, or elm trees it is, along the way. And they should start working now. They consume logs, however, I hope that we have enough logs. We're capped on logs, but I think that's because Tobias just arrived. Yep, he's trading at the moment. We are getting the logs here with the bread, so of course the consumption of that will further increase. And what we could also do is now we can switch the soap with the sewing machines. I think we're going to do this. This is changing dramatically once again the value of the sewing machines, and so much that I would like to have the sewing machines now here instead of bread, focusing on the logs, right? So we really only need a tiny amount. Look at that, 300 sewing machines would be 7,000 tons of logs. I think we can actually do with 50, let's make it 100 tons of sewing machines, which is really not a big deal to get the logs in there, right? My sewing machine production should be really high up there, 26 per minute surplus at the moment, and that's a lot. Right, we can still increase on that if we want to. For the sewing machines over here, we have them. They're getting boosted already with this item. Do we have another item? Yep, we would have Ferraz. And I think we can use him on them now too. So that's another 50% increase for those guys here. Going to up to 300% now on the sewing machine factories for each one of them. Insane and just so beautiful at the same time. Stay tuned.